I'm really glad to hear that you're happy with it. Whoa, this is a lot.
Not enough though, right? I know this is worth so much more than that. Hey, Lark, give him all the money that you have too.
Wait, what?
Just do it already, okay?
Now or never. Just want it out. Just want it out. Just want it out.
Greetings once again, my friends, and welcome back to another Geek News Anime Night, where we take a particular series, we go episode by episode and analyze it, give you the best, the worst, and everything we liked or disliked in between. I am your host, Adam Mickelson, aka Drac. I hope everybody's having an awesome day or night when you're listening to this, and joining me, obviously, is my lovely wife, Andrea. Andrea, is it warm enough yet for you? Is it cold enough yet for you? Is there a balance?
It's getting there.
It'll never truly be there.
Mm-hmm.
Is basically what you're saying. Okay, and we are here to talk the next episode in Season 1.5, before we get into Season 2, of Rising of the Shield Hero, which is Cal Mira Archipelago. Yes, I'm saying it right. Leave me alone, Internet. It's not Archipelago, okay? It's Archipelago. Because I'm sure a lot of people are going to do that because it's YouTube and whatnot. But we actually ended on a bit of a cliffhanger because we had two new characters introduced. And so we're going to kind of start up with them because that's pretty much the focus of this episode. As everybody gets to the Cal Mira Archipelago, people might remember Melty doesn't go with the Shield Heroes party, which kind of sucks because, you know, her and Philo were kind of a good team there. They had a couple of good dual attacks, is what I'm saying. But by the way, how do you feel about Melty not going?
I just never seen her as a
like. Did you like her, dislike her as a member of the party?
I mean, I didn't hate her, but I just felt like it was just.
You didn't hate her, but you didn't like her.
No, I just think she was kind of out of place for being a party member, really. But
yeah, the only reason it felt like she was there was because of Philo and her weird familial obsession that apparently is genetic.
Well, you kind of feel like she was more of an escort mission or something.
Kind of, yeah. So at that point, we then meet basically two new party members to, I don't want to call them party members, I want to call it like a mutual group, because the Shield hero, Naofumi, teams up with Lark Berg and Therese Alexanderite. I had to go and look up the last names because, like, first of all, I couldn't remember if it was Lark or Ark. Because sometimes you can't hear the L the way that he says it. So I had to make sure of that. And I can't remember his last name. But funniest thing, I can't remember his last name. But then the companion, I can't remember her first name. But I remember Alexanderite because I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. So what did you think of Lark and Therese?
They were an interesting party.
So basically, you have Lark, who is melee damage because he wields a big-ass scythe. We're not talking Sephiroth sizes here, people, but I'm going to go Magus from Chrono Trigger size. It's pretty big. And Therese is a magic user, but I'm not sure if she's a healer. I mean, in this world, it's kind of interchangeable. Like, the casters can be healers. But we haven't really seen her do healing magic, have we? I want to say no, we haven't.
I don't remember.
Well, but then again, like, we haven't seen the two of them operate. So maybe she does heal, but when they actually do get together with the Shield Heroes group, it doesn't really matter because Raftalia is healing everybody because she's just that good. She's the paladin of the group, is basically what she is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she goes in, she kicks ass, and then she picks up the pieces afterwards. So let's actually get into this episode. The reason I want to start this way is because we start with Lark and Therese in the village, and then we go to the boat. And the boat is a pain in the ass. Why? Because we have to deal with the other cardinal heroes who are Japanese, but apparently Japan is a continent in their realities, and it's not, a set of islands. So for some reason they get seasick, and apparently they absolutely, or at least one of them, hates fish, even though he's Japanese, and like fish is 80% of what Japanese cuisine is. So I don't know how the fuck he survived, but yeah, we have to deal with that moment. And then, of course, the other thing that was really annoying was they were like, how come you're not sick, Naofumi? Must be that broken shield. Everything is blamed on the shield. It really is. It's so stupid. And I'm just like, well, Naofumi's probably been on a boat before you guys. I don't know how you... Are you guys just like little preppy little preppy bitches? I don't know, but we should probably start with the first interesting interaction between Naofumi and Lark, because Lark proposes that they work together in Cal Mira. That way they can get all the experience that they want. But when Naofumi's party introduces him, he says, "I'm Naofumi Iwatani, the shield hero." Or he doesn't say the shield hero, but he says, "My name is Naofumi Iwatani." And Lark immediately goes, "I don't know if you should be taking on the name of the shield hero, man. He's bad news, dude." And I don't know why, but Lark is immediately assuming that he's lying about that, and he never really gets over it, does he?
I think he just eventually is like, oh, okay, whatever suits you.
Yeah, he's like, whatever suits you, dude. There's also a weird inference that like Lark is older than Naofumi, but if he is, he's not older by much. Like he's making it out to be like he's in his 40s, and I would dare say maybe late 20s, but he's not super old compared to Naofumi. But he keeps on referring to like, oh yeah, I'm the old fart of the group, and I don't know how you can handle all this stuff, man. You're like in your early 20s. But yeah, what did you think about that whole conflict of like, he never truly believes that I explained this when we watched. He's got a shield on his arm.
Well, he could just assume maybe he's another type of shield, but not like the actual.
Okay, but if the shield hero is as hated as he's making it out to be, would you like go around saying your preferred weapon is a shield? I mean, Naofumi has no choice. The shield is on his arm. He can't. He's tried to take it off. It doesn't take off. Not like the other heroes where they can put their spear down or their bow down. He's got it affixed to his arm the entire time. So at that point, like, why would you broadcast that you're the shield hero if you're this horrible person? And on top of that, if you got a shield affixed to doesn't that just technically mean you're the shield hero? And he never really realizes that, yeah, he's not lying. I don't know why. It's kind of weird and kind of got annoying after a while. So, anywho, so the next thing that they do is they arrive at the archipelago and basically get sent to their hotel rooms and everything like that, and immediately go out and start gathering XP. And immediately they're noticing right off the bat it's a lot. They're able to zoom up and level, but you have to make sure that you're not close to anybody, because then at that point you lose experience because of so many people around you. The way that we kind of know this is that eventually Naofumi runs into Motoyasu and the other two, and neither one of them are getting experience. So at that point, they basically say, Naofumi basically says, "Okay, we'll go to another island, and at that point we'll go work on this stuff." Which he does notice that when they get to the other island, it's nastier, and they still can take it on, but it's nastier monsters. At that point, I think is when they, it gets to nightfall, and they're just like, we might as well just stay out here and continue to get... Because not only are they killing the monsters, they're gathering materials. And I think this is when they run into Lark, or did they run into him before then? Because he proposed that they work as a group, but they didn't take him up on it.
Yeah, I think it was around that time when they were like, it was getting dark, and then I think they run into Lark and
Therese.
Yeah, they're like, it's getting nightfall. We were just coming out to find you because we didn't want you.
No, I think it was, I think it was around this point, because they were also like, well, we said we'd work together, and this is when Naofumi is like, oh, I thought you were joking, and he's like, no. And then we get the abrasive Naofumi of like, okay, well, you better pull your weight. And Lark basically bounces that back at him. It's like, well, maybe you ought to pull your weight. And so they start working together, and they start taking on some of the nastier monsters. And Therese, this is another little subplot that's going on, is that Therese notices the jewelry that Naofumi has worked on for Philo and Raftalia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she immediately assumes he's a jewel crafter and asks if he can make a specific thing, and even gives him this is the way that it should work in MMOs, people. You provide the materials, you provide a tip, and then all that. And Therese is doing it right, everybody. She provides the material. I think she provides more than that so that he can mess around. And he eventually makes a bracelet?
Something
for
like
her.
that.
And she is just like overly thankful about that. Like to the point where she's like, I don't have enough in my wallet. Lark, give him your wallet.
She's like, is that not enough? Lark, give up everything you have.
And Naofumi didn't care, but ultimately he's like, well, we can work out a payment plan. That's totally fine. Just to kind of shut her up, I think. And that was kind of cool, right? It's just like, she's so enamored by how he did, and he had to make it himself, guys. It wasn't the shield that made it. And so she's just like, I don't have enough to pay you. Lark, give him everything in your wallet.
And he was surprised of how much
and he's like,
got.
What? Why? Why do I need to give him everything in my wallet?
Well, even now.
Oh, actually, you know what? It was the first night they went back. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. So the thing that we're thinking about is they went back to the resort the first night. It was the second night they camped out.
Mm-hmm.
And this was another weird moment because everybody groups back up to party after the day's events, and apparently there's this berry that they use to make the wine that everybody's drinking. But apparently it's so potent that most people can't handle more than one full berry. And the way that we know this is like Motoyasu takes a bite and then immediately barfs. But Naofumi takes two of them, eats two of them. I think he even eats three. And Lark is like, whoa, don't do that, dude. No, like you'll poison yourself. And then he swallows the third one and he's like, wow, you must be able to handle your liquor, kid. And he's like, why? He's like, and then he explains that this berry is used to make the wine, and apparently it's so potent that if you eat more than one, you can easily regurgitate. So, what did you think of that moment when they said it was like this really potent thing, and then Naofumi just throws another third one into his mouth?
I'm surprised.
He's like, I don't care, I can handle this. This was another one of those weird moments where Naofumi and Lark were just like, okay, we don't know each other at all. And then they have the second night, and this is when the bracelet is now given, because apparently it's a big boost to Therese's magic, because she just starts nuking everything with like these blue flames. And they start working together, they start strategizing to take on, big monsters and being able to get all the loot from them. And all the materials. It was actually funny. One of the things they wanted to do was it was a big guy and a bunch of little penguin things. And so Naofumi's like, well, I'll just gather them all up and then you guys can take out the big one. And Therese offers to help him out with like an AoE or something like that. And he's like, well, just be careful. Don't aim at me, et cetera, et cetera. And now that they're party members, she throws it right on him. And he is immediately mad. He's like, why did you do that? But then he's like, wait, I'm not feeling anything. and kind of realizes that if he's partying with Therese, then it's not gonna, her spells aren't gonna hurt him. Which I think was a weird freak out to him. And you know what? If I was a real person in a video game like world, that probably would freak me out too.
Mm-hmm.
If I was immediately lit on fire and it didn't hurt. But they ultimately do kill this big monster, get all the materials from it, kind of split it up the way that they want to. And even they apparently have done so well in their experience gathering, they decide to take the next day off. And this is kind of where we start wrapping up the episode because Lark and Therese, I think they went out and still worked on experience, but Naofumi decided to take a day at the beach where he was just trying to figure out like all of the things that has been happening over the last few days. And of course, since it's an obligatory beach episode, we have to have both Philo and Raftalia in bikinis, which... Again, Philo looks like an 8-year-old girl, and of course they put her in the skimpiest frickin' bikini they can find. I'm sorry, I need your thoughts on that. Like, that is a super skimpy bikini for like a little 8-year-old girl. And the funniest thing is like Raftalia, who's the babe, like she's the one that's got stuff to show. She's actually like covering herself up to an extent, but no, not Philo. Philo doesn't care. She's just wearing barely nothing. Yeah. What did you think of the outfits here?
Well, I mean, it's not like I've seen young kids and...
Yeah, but they're always kind of more tasteful than what Philo is wearing. I almost want to say, this was Moe fan service to the highest extent. And if Motoyasu was on the beach, he'd probably, sprout blood from his nose.
I'm sure.
Seeing that. I actually thought, what did you think of Raftalia's outfit? I kind of like the fact that she's like more modest in that. Like you can tell that she probably is, in fact, early on, we actually see that maybe she bought the bikini that she's wearing, but then she has like, what is it? It's just like, it's like a shawl or like a dress on top of it.
Kind of like that.
I don't
know.
I don't know how that works, but like she's wearing that. And of course, Naofumi doesn't notice because Naofumi's not going to notice. At least not for a while, guys.
Well, at least he's not going to react.
He's still got the sister mentality. You got a thing. And so I don't know if he's going to notice. But before Raftalia comes out, Philo mentions that she went underwater and noticed that there's like this underwater temple at the beach and tells Naofumi about it. And he's like, oh, well, we got the day off. We can just go explore it. And apparently he's made these scuba suits. And that's the funniest part about this whole thing is that Raftalia comes out and she looks banging right on. Like she's looking really good. And then Naofumi puts on the penguin-like scuba suits.
Why on earth would you have...
Yeah, why were they penguins?
I know.
I have no idea.
And especially they have a Santa hat on them.
No, only hers did.
No, I thought all three of them did.
No, only her, because Philo was in her Philolial form.
Oh, yeah.
And then Naofumi had one, but it didn't have a hat.
Why wouldn't... Why
but hers is the one that had the hat.
Why, though?
I don't know. I was hoping you'd have an answer. Why a Santa hat? Like, it's not even Christmas themed or anything like that. And of course, she's just like, because, she went out and got herself the skimpy bikini and she wanted Naofumi to notice her. And Naofumi didn't really notice her. Because, of course, that's the only reason that you buy something like that, right? You make sure that you can get noticed. And so they go down to the underwater temple and they notice that it actually is a dragon hourglass temple. So like I don't know why they didn't think about this, like trying to use it to level up or whatever, but they're just like, oh my gosh, it's a dragon hourglass. And apparently nobody knew that this existed in the Cal Mira archipelago. Maybe they knew when this thing wasn't underwater, but Naofumi decides to link up to it just to, be able to see what he can do. And this is kind of where the episode ends, is that it ends on the cliffhanger of it actually looks like the next wave is going to hit the Cal Mira archipelago, which they were originally told, like, that doesn't happen. And the next wave was, like, I think they said months away.
I thought it was like a couple days away. Like it was very
No. But before they got here.
Oh.
I think they were told, like, it was months away,
True.
so that's why they should go to Cal Mira so that they can go level up for it. And when he links up to it, he finds out that the next wave is not only going to hit Cal Mira, but it's going to happen in the next 48 hours.
Yeah.
So obviously kind of sitting there going, oh, wait, yeah, we can't have fun times and beach days because the wave is going to hit us in the next 2 days, so we got to go start preparing for it. So overall, like, what did you like about this episode? Let's get into the likes first. I thought it was cool to be able to team with Therese and Lark just to kind of open up Naofumi to other people, because it's obvious he's not going to be teaming up with the other three heroes, not just yet. They're way too annoying. He doesn't want to deal with them, and frankly, he probably also doesn't want to have to deal with Bitch either. So he's fine just being on his own. But what did you think of, like, the whole partying up with Lark and Therese?
It was nice change to,
I thought it was a nice change of pace to the character for Naofumi, and Raftalia even got to be able to kind of urge him along to being able to do that. By the way, the other thing that was funny is at the party, the same drunk guard that started the fight with her in the previous episode goes up and tries to start shit with her again, and this time she maintains composure and says, well, I'm done, and kind of walks away. I thought that was good of her.
Mm-hmm.
She's demonstrating restraint. I mean, she's already kicked this guy's ass. So at that point, she doesn't really need to do it again. So I kind of like that. What did you think about the beach aspect of this? I needed to ask this of you because, like, okay, we're doing anime now, and anime usually will have a beach episode, a hot spring episode, or as the anime fan base has started to call them, fan service episodes.
Oh, yes.
Because not only, like, originally in, like, growing up in the 80s and 90s, it wasn't really fan service for girls because the guys were always just in swim trunks. But it was always fan service for the boys who, let's be honest for a second, in the 80s and 90s, the majority of the demographic that was watching was male.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like it was stuff like Pokemon that started opening it up to female audiences. Because then you had the cute little monsters. You didn't have other stuff going on. And so now we actually will have fan service episodes that not only put the women in the skimpy bikinis, but now you'll also have men in, like, skimpy Speedos, to be able to appear to that element. So I've gotten flack for this in the past, like, because I have a very mixed view on fan service, especially when it comes to, like, in fan service, you especially have to have characters look a specific way so that they look especially skimpy, kind of thing. What's your take on fan service episodes?
They're just filler episodes to me.
Like, do you get excited for them? I always tend to find them a little silly, because that's when some shenanigans will happen. I mean, obviously, in the hot spring episode, you'll have the one creepy guy who tries to go in and look on the girls. Okay, so, like, shenanigans will happen. But like, do you find them hilarious? Do you find them annoying? Do you find them, like, how do you react to them?
50-50, whatever happens in the episode.
So basically what you're saying is that if a guy came out in the skimpy Speedo, you'd be like, ooh.
No, I don't even care for that.
Okay, all right. So then, and you've already kind of got into Philo, but do you have any additional comments on Raftalia?
No.
There's really nothing to say about Naofumi, because he was in trunks and, like, a button-up shirt, I think?
It just looked like a one-piece, I
don't think it was a one-piece swimsuit. I think it was like he put on a button-up shirt.
Well, it sure looked like it all matched the same.
It did match. I'll give you that. It did match, but and that actually kind of threw me off because they said initially in the armor that it was hot. So I'm like, why are you wearing a shirt, dude? You'll just burn yourself. But that's what they decided to do. So the other thing I want to ask about Raftalia is like, what did you think of the additional getup aside from the skimpy bikini? Like, is that something more tasteful or more like, is that something that you would go out and try?
It's just like on who?
Like you would go out and get it yourself. Like the I don't even know what it was. It was like this robe because I think it was all in one piece. I don't think it was two separate pieces. I want to say it was like a weird sundress robe kind of thing.
I think it's a little bit overkill, but that's me.
Okay. So at that point, but you probably were a little bit more appreciative of what Raftali was wearing compared to what Philo was wearing.
Probably.
Yep. And then what did you think of the cliffhanger? So like we got told in the previous episode that if you go to Cal Mira, you're not going to have to worry about waves. And the next wave is not for months. So like we can sit back and level up and have good moments and all that. And now we're basically being told, fuck that.
Well, I thought there would be a catch to that.
Yes. It's very interesting how they're basically setting this up. And now I guess they're going to have to set it up where Naofumi is telling everybody you have 48 hours. And probably, since it's in an underwater temple, nobody's going to believe him.
Oh, yeah. And I'm pretty sure if he came across the other Cardinal heroes, they'll think
They'll
crazy.
probably not agree with him. And, it's Naofumi up to his old shit kind of thing. And we'll have to deal with that bullshit again.
It's like, okay, then don't be surprised if you get hit by the wave.
Okay. Was there anything you disliked about the episode? It sounds to me like to you, the fan servicey part of it is probably what you would dislike.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I just never picture.
Okay, then what is there anything there that you genuinely disliked? I would say another thing that I actually did like is, again, the reaction from Therese. That was priceless, man. Mm-hmm. Because, like, how many times have you crafted something in an MMO and then everybody's just like, oh my god, like, you got super duper quality out of it. and all of a sudden, I can't even pay you back. This doesn't happen in MMOs, is what I'm saying.
But really? Penguin diving suits?
Okay, yeah, that's a dislike. Why the fuck did you do that?
I'm pretty sure there are other ways, like...
By the way, is Raftalia still wearing that full-on getup in there? She's gotta be hot.
I don't know.
Because, like, I'm not saying that it's thick fabric or anything like that, but any additional layers is going to make that worse. So, at that point, like, do you think she just kind of skimped down to the bikini and then just went in there, or did, like, she wore the whole getup?
Well, I'm sure she wasn't wearing it naked. And
no, she wasn't wearing it naked. Yeah, but I don't think... She might have just gone down to, like, the straight bikini. To go and do that, because maybe that fabric wasn't built for swimming. But even now, for me, like, did he take off the damn shirt at least? I mean, if they are nude, then they can't be nude because they got out of them to the Dragon Hourglass. So, and also, why did you make scuba suits in the form of penguins?
I know.
That crap. Oh, the other thing I also did like in this episode is that eventually I like the fact that they show that the weapons that they have are actually showing wear and tear as they level up. So they were actually able to, on the fly, via the shield, make new weapons and armor and stuff like that based off the stuff that they were fighting. I thought that was actually a really good idea. Because then at that point, it's just like, oh, do we actually have to deal with durability costs in this one? Nope! Shield comes up. All right, we got a new sword. What, you didn't like that?
No, I think it was just a surprise.
I think it was silly, but it worked. I did find it funny that Lark never upgraded his scythe to continue fighting, but maybe he's, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out later. Any other dislikes on it? Penguin suits, I think, is another thing. I'm kind of not into the whole deal that, you know, he's going to have to basically be the tinfoil hat guy trying to tell people that the waves are coming. because he already got over the whole I was falsely accused, and now it's gonna be he's starting up his whole shit again.
Yeah, it's just at the point it's like, okay, move on with the whole accusations in the past. Why don't you just start treating people like instead of acting like he's still the number one evil thing on?
Yes. Yeah. I will say one of my dislikes is the fan service, specifically the fan service, how it was displayed here. I don't have a problem with Raftalia. Raftalia is a badass, and frankly, you want to show off a more feminine side to her and show that, well, she's got boobs. I have no problem with that. Like, I'm a guy. That's fine. My problem is more with Philo. Because that is just a super skimpy deal, and I know exactly why they did it, because there's a thing called moe in anime, which is basically, people are not going to like that I say this, but it is bordering on a pedophilic kind of look, because moe basically is just younger, cuter girls that are used as sex appeal kind of thing. And obviously they've kind of showcased that maybe Philo is kind of that due to Motoyasu's reaction to her, because he's obviously a moe fanboy. So that's usually where I have a problem. And I feel like that's the direction they went with Philo, and I'm very weirded out by it. I'm saying this is a dislike I have. Like, I don't have a problem with Raftalia. I'm pretty sure Therese would have come out tasteful. But no, you had to have the 10-year-old, what looks like the 10-year-old girl, 8 to 10-year-old girl coming out in a skimpy bikini. Like, that's overkill, in my opinion. Because it like, there's no reason to put the little girl in something that's going to show off her butt or her her inner thighs or breasts or anything like that. You don't do that. You just don't. And so that's probably like my biggest beef with it. Also, the fact that it just didn't make sense that Lark doesn't believe that he's the shield hero. I just don't see where there's evidence saying that he isn't, or that he's faking it. Like, if the shield hero got accused of the things that he got accused, why would you fake being the shield hero?
And it was kind of annoying when he always liked to try and tease Naofumi by calling him what? Shield Kitty or something? Or,
yeah, it was like Shield Kid or something like that.
And he's like, what are you?
Or Shield Kiddo. That's what he called him. Kiddo. That's how you know that he might be older, is because he used Kiddo. Like, how many people use Kiddo now? Yeah, that was also another thing that was kind of annoying, but those are really the dislikes that I'm coming up with. So overall, out of 5, what would you give Cal Mira Archipelago?
I'd say about a 3 at least.
I'd give it a 4. I think it's setting things up nicely. Even the thing at the end, like, yeah, you can have like an entire arc based on a beach vacation, but they basically wanted to once again prove that this world is treacherous. Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with that. They set it up the way that they needed to. So overall, I think that this is setting this little arc up quite nicely. But that's going to go ahead and do it for us this episode. So thank you guys so much for joining us in on this. And also for those who are watching along with us, because we've gotten a few people saying that they're watching the episodes right along with so that they can comment and stuff like that. That's kind of cool. But also, really quick, so again, thank you guys for supporting us. If you guys are brand spanking new and want to support us, first of all, welcome. We're very happy to have you. You can support the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, Player.fm, and now YouTube, because now I'm able to actually move these episodes over to YouTube a lot easier. So you guys can look forward to that in the future. So continue to support, subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. We really do appreciate it. It does help out. And when we come back, it's going to be the next episode of Season 1.5 of Rising of the Shield Hero. Until then, have a good day or night, and we'll catch you.